As usual, I was buried beneath scattered papers, struggling against time and exhaustion to prepare for an important exam the next day. Fatigue had completely taken over me, and at that moment, all I wanted was to throw my books aside and drift into a deep sleep. I dozed off at my desk for a few moments. When I opened my eyes, my books were gone. So was my tiny room. Instead, I found myself in a magnificent world steeped in the charm of the Victorian era. It took me a long time to process the shock. Was this all a dream, or had exhaustion finally gotten the better of me? But after days of confusion and denial, I accepted the truth. I was no longer myself. I was Millie. I wasn't alone in this house. There was Viola, my stepsister. We weren't related by blood. The only connection between us was that my mother had married her father. Viola wasn't just beautiful. She looked like an angel descended from heaven with invisible wings, gentle to a fault and kind to everyone she met. Standing beside her overwhelming beauty, I often felt like nothing more than a faded shadow. My long, wavy black hair was my greatest enemy. No matter how much effort I put into taming it, it stubbornly refused to cooperate. My features were ordinary. I wasn't ugly, but I lacked that breathtaking radiance, the kind of radiance that belonged to Viola alone. Viola was like magic walking the earth. She had sky-blue eyes, delicate features as soft as silk, and skin as white as snow. Her wavy blonde hair caught the light so beautifully that everyone nicknamed her Viola's sunshine. I was 2 years older than her. I was 20 and she was 18. Yet those 2 years were nowhere near enough to give me her grace or charm. My mother, Eliza, had 2 faces. Whenever Bernard was away, she treated Viola coldly. Viola wasn't her biological daughter, but I never believed that was the real reason behind her behavior. Eliza was remarkably skilled at hiding it whenever father was around. As for Bernard, he spent most of his time away from home, working tirelessly to repair our family's declining finances. Our social status was a double-edged sword. We were nobles, yes, but we weren't wealthy. We lived more on the reputation of our family name than on actual money. That was why my mother was obsessed with appearances, as if she could cover the cracks of poverty with layers of false pride. Even though I had only lived with them for a year, I had already grown attached to them. Back in my original world, I was completely alone. I lived by myself while studying and working part-time just to make ends meet. The only family I had was a cold-hearted father, and our relationship had long since fallen apart. Here, for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged somewhere. For the first time, I felt that someone cared whether I existed. I began to love Eliza despite knowing how cruel and contradictory she could be. She treated me with a warmth and affection I had never experienced before. I was so starved for those feelings that I sometimes overlooked the way she treated Viola, convincing myself that it wasn't really that bad while trying to bring the two of them closer together. Viola had found a place in my heart as well. I wished her happiness with all my heart. Although jealousy sometimes crept in because of her beauty and the affection everyone seemed to have for her, I could never bring myself to hate her. How could I hate someone whose kindness toward me was genuine? As for Bernard, he was my safe haven. Though he wasn't my biological father, he had raised Millie since she was 10 years old and treated me with sincere, fatherly affection. Yes, he spoiled Viola a little more. She was his only daughter after all. But he never once made me feel like an outsider. That alone was enough to make me love him dearly. And even after spending a year in this world, I still had no idea why I was here. The only conclusion I had managed to reach was that Viola seemed to be the main character of this story. The legendary beauty, the perfect kindness. the remarkable ability to win hearts with nothing more than a smile. And me? Who was I in her story?